Hello there, yarn lovers, it's Gary and I'm coming to you from my dining room here in my house on Vancouver Island in Canada. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Today is Sunday, November the 26th, 2023. How are you all doing? I hope you're well and staying safe. Yes, another video down here in the dining room. It's just myself and Pixel. Pixel's my 8-month-old puppy and we're home alone this weekend. Chad, my husband, has ventured off to Vancouver, which is the largest city closest to where we live, and it's around 6-hour commute by car and ferry, but he flew down, so it took only about 45 minutes to fly from where we live to the place where he was going to go and meet people from his high school. So it's a bit of a reunion for him and some fun times. I was invited to go as well, but he decided to stay home. It was a lot easier for me and Pixel to just be at home, and I thought this is a great chance to do some recording and talk to my yarny friends out there. So I'm glad that you're keeping me company. And so what have I got for this part of the episode or the recording is just to talk to you about updating what I've made recently, works in progress. I've got some wish makes that I'll talk to you about. I've caked up some yarn and yeah, all that sort of fun yarny goodies. So if you want to stick around to watch and talk yarn with me, then please do. If you're happening across this channel for the first time and wondering what this is all about, hi, my name's Gary and I set this channel up initially in the beginning to just record all of my adventures in learning yarn crafts like knitting and crocheting, dabble a little bit in yarn dyeing as well. And then I thought, well, I might as well release this and find a community, because no one in my neighborhood or in my family really were yarny people. They didn't craft with yarn. So I was lacking that in my sense of connection. And so I thought I'd create a YouTube channel. And that was probably 4 years ago, I'm going to say, maybe 4.5 years. And so when I initially started with crochet and knitting, I think I was maybe 3 months before I started the YouTube channel. So I was really super fresh and kind of a deer in headlights. Let's start with finished objects. The first one that I've got to talk about is the one that I'm wearing here. Really love this pattern. It is called the Willow Cowl by Amelia, Lyon. It's a paid for pattern, it's knit, and I got mine from, I believe, Ravelry. I'll include all of the patterns that I mentioned down below in the description box with links if you need help to find where they're located. So yeah, I got wind of this pattern because there's so many patterns out there that we tend to not find, or the little gems that are hidden away. So I got wind of this because a friend sent me a photograph of their own finished willow cowl, and it was in a colorway that I had hand dyed and gifted to the person. And I thought, wow, I'm gonna have to jump in there and make this pattern. So I wound up some hand dyed yarn that I had done in this greenish, it's got turquoise in it as well, but mostly green and emeralds. And I thought, and there's a bit of blue in there as well. And I thought, you know what? I've got the perfect yarn for it. Let's put this into a project bag with the pattern. And then I tied it up and thought, forgotten about it. Until recently, maybe about 3 weeks ago, I found the bag and I sort of was figuring out what was in there, and I opened it up and I thought, wow, I'm going to start this pattern. It's been too long. So I think it was like in my bag for about 10 months. And I sat down and I started working on it. Now, when I got past the first couple of rows, I thought, I'm going to love this pattern. It already started something new to me and challenged me to kind of like do something interesting on within the first, I'm going to say maybe 15 rows. And I thought, yeah, okay, let's carry on. Then I made a boo-boo. I was like past maybe 15 rows and I thought, I've chosen the wrong yarn weight. So I'm going to be missing a lot of the length of the yarn that I need to complete this cowl. And I thought, I need to run into my room and figure out what I'm going to do, how I'm going to add more yarn to incorporate into the pattern. So what I had done was I had found these healthy scraps of really nice, I think that's superwash merino, and then there was one that was a cotton. And they were both fingering weight in this denim blue style yarn. One was more sapphire blue, and one was a more denim, deep denim blue, like a almost a navy blue. So I thought I'm going to hold these together because in my color work I have a bit of the splash of those dark blues in there as well. So it'll be a nice kind of way of lengthening the use of the yarn that I had and stretch the hand dyed yarn throughout the course of the pattern. So I kind of came up with just a few sections there in the darker color here, the dark blue. Yeah, so I'll take it off so we can have a look at it. And quite interesting how the piece, you wouldn't think that it was such a long tube, but because of the way that the designer has chosen to do the stitch work, you are actually having more looser areas and then more tighter areas in the choice of the stitches. And in doing that, where the lace work is, when gravity pulls it down, it creates these nice tubular style ribbing that is kind of throughout the design. And I like that. It's so cool. So yeah, the color here that I've used is the hand dyed, as mentioned. I didn't give it a colorway name, but I do have the ball band. Oh, I should show you the pattern as well. The front of it is a little blurb about what you need. So there's no information in any regards to giving away the pattern itself, but that's it there. And what else do I have? Okay, this is the yarn that I over dyed. It's called Hawthorne DK weight yarn. I thought it was fingering weight, but it ended up being DK weight. So my mistake with that one. And I over dyed it. It's bare yarn, and for 100 grams, I got 225 yards. So when I went to look for my scraps, I found what the name of the blue superwash merino was, and it is, I've written it down here, I'll probably get it wrong. It's called Sweatermaker yarn, and the colorway is Ultramarine. It is a local dyer here to the island that I purchased from a local store, yarn store, and I really liked it. And I paired it with the remnants, leftovers of a cotton Stenli cake, which had navy blue, and it was sort of had a little bit of the purple it was bleeding into. So you'll get to see a strand there of the red and the blue together. Yeah. There's a close-up of the pattern. Super, super cool. I love it so much. So I'll put that aside. And is there anything else I need to tell you about that? No, I don't think so. Really like it. I think I'm probably gifted to for Christmas to someone. So I just need to wash it and block it. The next pattern that I have here will most likely be a gift as well for Christmas. And it is to the pattern called Clara Hat, and it's by Sara Klint. Sara Klint. Is it there? I don't know whether this one was free. It's a knit pattern. And here is my version. I love this so much. Oh, super, super cool. Now, the decrease is very interesting, and I think I fumbled through it. I ripped it back a few times because I wasn't quite understanding the decreases. There's a bit of a unclear way that it's written when it's referring to what you did before kind of thing, but what I did before doesn't match what it shows up in the picture, because what I did before, once I started doing it, it wasn't coming out like the picture was showing for the decreases. So I had to assume that I needed to add in an extra step there that the pattern took me through, and add that into where it needed to be inserted, because I was missing a step along the way. So yeah, the decreases are really cool. I like them. So when it lays flat, you get to see the type of points that are that where the decreases is happening. And I like, you don't really get to see it too well in the color choices that I made, because I chose two colors and they should have been a bit more higher contrast. Like in this white area here, you get to see, and the pale blue, you get to see a better contrast. But up here, the two colors are very similar, so I don't get to see that nice decrease. But I did like working the pattern, and the yarn was to die for. And it feels great in this finished product. It's quite squishy, and it's a dense but light weight yarn, like light as in it doesn't weigh heavy. So it breathes very well. And yeah, let's look at the yarn. This yarn was a gifted yarn, and the sender wants to remain anonymous, but you know who you are, and I love this yarn so much. It was the Arcane Fiberworks yarn, and that's a Canadian hand dyer that dyes the yarn. The colorway is in grey mouse, mouse grey, sorry. And this is it here. It is a worsted weight yarn. But when you kind of pull on this, the beauty of the yarn is that it has this squishy, spongy quality to it. And oh, it was a dream to work with. I used my Chargu stainless steel needle set, and then double pointed needles when I was doing the decreasing for the cap. It works from the bottom of the cap upwards. And yeah, the yarn is amazing. It's a dream to work with. So thank you so much for sending that. I love it. The contrast color that I used was a self-striping yarn from Felici, and that is a Knit Picks yarn. It's the worsted weight variety. And this one is called, the colorway is called, is it Rustic Cabin? Where is the name? Rustic Cabin. So it goes through browns, sky blue, there's like a ivory color, and then more of a tan cream. I like it. It gives me grandpa vibes, and I can imagine grandpa pajamas being, or those, what are those? Cozy toes slippers in these colors. But I'm kind of like that kind of person as well. So these two together made the hat. Yeah, absolutely love it. So I have some pictures of me wearing this, and I'll insert them in here so that you can get a better sense if you don't see it in the lighting that I'm providing here, and I'll add them here and come back. The next finished object I don't have in hand right now. It's being gifted away to the recipient, and I do have a little clip of it. The recipient is Pixel's instructor at dog school. She's an amazing person, and we thought, you know, we're not going to see her until next January, so it's going to be a couple of months. And the class went really well. She helped us with so many things with Pixel, so I crocheted up a pair of gloves for her. So I've got the little snippet that I'll add in here to show you what the finished results were, what yarn I used. I'll include it here and I'll come back. Hello there, yarn lovers. It's Gary and my co-host Pixel, who is on her crate looking outside watching the world go by on this rainy day. But I am wanting to showcase these mittens, or these gloves, they're not mittens, fingerless gloves that I followed a tutorial from Crystal over at Bag a Day. And I'll link it down below. It's called the Easy Crochet Gloves. And so they turned out really nice. I won't have them as of this Wednesday because I'm going to gift them to Pixel's instructor. So our graduation is Wednesday, so we won't be seeing our instructor until next year because it's wrapping up, and that will be the end of the year class for Pixel. So I thought I'd make her some fingerless gloves, and what do you think? I think they turned out really nice. They took me around 3 nights to do, a couple of hours each night, and I used a 5mm crochet hook, and this is the yarn that I used here. It's called Lyon brand jeans yarn, I guess, and it is in the colorway New Jeans, I think. Let me look. What's it say? Brand new, sorry. And I really like the color. It's a 4-weight, I think. What do you think, Pixel? Do you like it? And a thinner 4. The crochet hook was 5mm, and yeah, what can I say? I only used about 60 grams of the ball, but I think maybe 80 grams because would be a better gauge for both gloves. So the 40 grams, and then you have a bit left over. All right. So what did you think? If I've chosen the clip where Pixel is kind of sniffing at the gloves to see who they belong to, she's so adorable. But a good view of the color as well in the daylight. I really like the richness, the deep color. What did you guys think? Have you used Lyon brand's jeans yarn before? I found it was a little splitty. Not sure whether anyone else has had a chance to use it and what they thought of it, but let me know in the comment section if you have made something with Lyon brand jeans yarn, and if you felt that, you know, your crochet hook kept on like ripping it up or not catching all of the threads, because there are a couple of loose strands that are loosely spun together to create that wonderful texture and color in the yarn. So next up, what I've got is my whips, and I only have one to show you. I am constantly working on larger projects. I've got the Nature's Walk still underway. I've got a cable sweater hoodie vest that I'm working on, but nothing to the stage yet of where I can talk about it and show you bits and pieces that I've been working through. But I do have another glove here. So this is the glove. I haven't tied into my ends because I still have the other glove to do. And I like doing things in stages, so it creates a bit of workflow and a bit of a faster process if I do things all at once. So glove 1 is done, and the idea that I have behind doing these gloves will be also on Christmas Day when we go to be with family. There's going to be 8 people at the Christmas event, like the meal, and I thought what a nice thing to do would be to make gloves for all the people who are going to the Christmas meal. And generally what I do is I do something that's theme-based for the year. Like if it's scarves, I'll do everyone's scarves. If it's face washcloth or bathroom kits, I'll do that for everyone. So this year I'm thinking of gloves or mittens or, you know, closed finger gloves or fingerless gloves. So things that you put on your hands to keep you warm over winter. So this will be my first set to take with me to the dinner, the Christmas dinner that's happening. So the yarn that I'm using for this one is Lyon brand's Pound of Love, and it's in the colorway Charcoal. So it's slightly heathered. and 4-weight yarn, kind of like a thinner 4-weight yarn. And what else can I tell you about it? It's nice to work with. It's creating a sturdy fabric because of the hook size that I'm using, but because it's on a hand that moves around a lot, I need to have that sturdiness, the thickness a little bit, because I don't want it sort of like misshapening after 2 wears. So I think this style of glove that Crystal over Bag a Day does for the tutorial that I'll link down below as well is good to have some longevity with a part of your body that, like your hands they're used a lot, they hold things. You know, if you're walking your dog, you know, there'll be a leash rubbing up against there. So you kind of need a little bit of substance in the fabric. And this is a great one. So yeah, you should give it a go. And that is the only whip that I have to show. But I have some wish list makes that I have brought down here because, as with this one, there's been a few that have been sitting there for a very, very long time. So I'm thinking after my gloves are done for Christmas, or in between, you know, making gloves and then wanting to make something else just to keep my interest, I have brought down 2 bags of these languishing and missing patterns and yarn. Now, granted, one of them was yarn that I just put in a bag recently, but the pattern was there for a while, and I caked them all up. So they were in hanks, and I thought I'm going to cake all this yarn up so that I'm kind of moving the process and not having any more reason to procrastinate. The first one is in this lovely Billy, the Crafty Floridian. She created this bag, and it was purchased and gifted to me by my good friend Penny Bolton. Hi Penny, I love this bag. So I have got in here a gift as well from a viewer of the channel who gifted me this pattern called Paris Toujours, and it is by, where's the name of the designer? Isabel Kramer? That seems like the right name. It says here, Isabel Kramer. Yeah, so she's the designer of the Paris Toujours. And so yeah, I don't know whether I have permission to say who sent me this. So you know who you are, and thank you so much for this pattern. It's a paid for pattern, so I can't show you any of the details, I guess. But I've chosen the yarn for it and caked it up. As I said today, I was winding yarn, and crinkle, crinkle, crinkle. It's these 3 colors. Oh, actually 2 are the same, and then that one's a bit darker. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna choose the two lighter colors to be the meat and the bones of the piece, and then I'm going to trim and fade into this color towards the end of the design, so that I think it's an asymmetrical triangle. So it starts off in a small corner and then gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So I think towards the end, when I'm working on the longer length of the scarf, I'm going to alternate the darker color in so that it gets that slight gradual effect into this colorscape here. What do you think? It's a fingering weight yarn that's come from Ice. Hunting around for the label of what this yarn was, I found it. It's from Ice, and the brand is called Hand Dyed Merino Extra Fine. That's the information there if you need it. Yeah, is that upside down? Probably. There we go. It's a fingering weight yarn. I believe that one of these colors, either the lighter one or the darker one, is called Chestnut, and I'm not sure what the other name is, but I can't wait to start it. I'm really looking forward to it. The next wish list make is housed in this wonderful drawstring project bag that was made for me by my friend Kit, who used to have a channel called All Things Crochet and Knit with Kit. I miss seeing her videos. So I did cake this up as well. And this one is I don't know whether this was a paid for pattern or was it free. I'll link them all down below. Maybe this one was a free one, I'm not sure. So this is called Cosmic Dandy, and it's by Julie Dubrow. Oh my goodness, she did the bubbly. So I didn't realize that. So this is the pattern that I'm working on. There are two styles of knitted shawls that are showcased in this pattern. And I'm not sure which one I'm going to be doing because I like both of them. And I am using hand-dyed yarn that I did recently. I'm going to say within the last 4 months. And I'm using this color here. I have 6 of these 50-gram balls that I caked up. And this one here, which I only have 1 50-gram. And again, I'm going to do the same thing as I explained with the Tour de Jour colors. I'm going to do the main body in this color, and then right at the end, as the shawl is finishing up and it's getting quite long in the I guess the end bit of it, I'm gonna use the darker one to get the sense of like the fade or the rustic feel of it being kind of like heavier on the bottom end of the shawl. There is a chance there to use mohair as well. It's mohair dare kind of thing, and I thought I would use this if it worked in with the piece. So that would be part of the what looks like lace work. I'll probably do in this mohair. So those are the 3 yarns that I have in the bag for trying, testing, seeing whether it works for this pattern here. And with that, that catches you up with everything. So I'm going to shift gears now and we'll talk about what I've been up to in my little community here and some suggestions on series that I've been watching, or I finished watching, I should say, and my thoughts about it at the end. Maybe it's something that you might like to watch yourself or have watched. So my notes, I have to refer to my notes because there's so many things moving around right now in my head that I probably will forget if I don't put my list in front of me. So Chad and I, we used a voucher recently that we had for 3 years. This voucher was for Hydropath. I'm not sure whether everyone's familiar with a Hydropath, but there is a local spa resort type place where people go and they do healthcare things, or they just sit and meditate or just sort of chill out. It's in a beautiful part of the coastline here, and so we went to the place. It's called Kingfisher. So I was gifted about 2 birthdays ago a gift card to use in their Hydropath, and that was from my mother-in-law. Such a beautiful present, so thank you. And it was for 2 people. It was the Hydropath and lunch or brunch, and so we went and did that. It was a lot of fun. The Hydropath had, I'm going to say, 7 stations of different water or steam therapy. And so we sat in a hot tub for about 5 minutes. We went to various different showers and hot, cold pools that they do. I think in probably Scandinavia, they like doing that sort of shock to the circulation. But it was funny. I had to gasp in the cold pool because it was really frigid and numbing in a sense, like kind of tingly. But getting into the hot pool afterwards kind of like made everything so much better. They had scrub bath, and you do all of this in like sequence in private. So the next time, you know, as you're moving through these stations, the next group is behind you that come through. You wear your bathers, and it's awesome. I don't know whether everyone calls them bathers, but swimming togs or costume. Some people call it costume. So you wear your bathing suit, and yeah, so we really enjoyed it. Lunch was perfect. It was actually a brunch because I had eggs, I think, from memory. Yes, just a basic egg and sausages and toast. And the view was amazing, like looking onto the ocean. So we really enjoyed that. I felt like it was long time coming because we did try and book that in a few times over the course of 3 years, but the stipulations were a little ridiculous. The gift card could only be used on certain days of the week, so Monday to Thursday. They blacked out the Friday to Sunday, and as workers, it's very hard for us to like get to the place during a work week. And then they had stipulations that all through summer there was a blackout period. You couldn't use it between, I don't know, say June to October, and they excluded all of the public holidays as well. So we just happened to chance that they they acknowledged the 11th of the 11th, which is Remembrance Day, and that happened to fall on a Saturday this year. So for us workers in the like the school environment, we actually got the Monday off from work. So when we booked in for the Monday, they didn't classify it as a national day of, you know, a stat holiday because they had it on Saturday. So we were quite lucky to get through the loophole that way and finally get to use the gift card. Yeah, so, okay, yeah, Pixel graduated. I should tell you a little bit about that. I've got some footage of her. It's hilarious. Maybe I've put it in the front of the opening credits, but yeah, it was the test to see whether she retained all of the instructions throughout the course of 5 weeks, and she did really well. I'm going to say all the dogs in the class did really well. Maybe they got 70%. 60 to 70% of the instructions were learnt, and the rest was kind of like yeah, okay, turn a blind eye kind of thing. But yeah, all the dogs are adorable in the class. So we all decided that we will do a class together next year and keep the same class happening. So it's the doodle class. We have a sheepadoodle, a golden doodle, and Pixel's the Woodle, and like Wheaton Doodle, and there's one more. What is it? Labradoodle. Did I say Labradoodle? Golden Doodle? Sheepadoodle. Yeah. So yeah, we've got the doodle covered, and we're really looking forward to catching up next year. The instructor is going to give us a specific tailored class custom to entertain the dog brain learning. So she's got this class called Brain Games, and that's what we're going to be doing with Pixel in January. Okay, my notes are also reading here that I should say something about the Black Friday sales, that this household, myself and Chad, have been sort of buying things for the home, and I've been looking for things to purchase in the way of a good deal for yarn. And I have to say, personally, I'm underwhelmed with the types of sales that were offered to yarn lovers like us this year. There were some deals, you had to hunt for them, and they only seem to have happened to a couple of sites, but not all the sites in general. Like you would expect to see, I don't know, 70% or something to get excited about, like, oh my goodness, like there's more than half the price has been cut. Now we're able to maybe, you know, get a sweater's quantities of yarn for half the price, or whatever, you know, I didn't feel that excitement. So I've got another Knit order coming. I was really happy with the doorbuster price that happened for a 2-day period, and I jumped on it because it was some yarn that I have in my stash, and I only sampled a few of the colors, but not enough to make like one project from a color. I have to combine them all together. So I bought my favorite colors that I have, enough of to do a bigger project with the sale that they had. So I'll talk to you all about that when it arrives. And I also made a Temu purchase on fuzzy yarns because I really enjoyed working on the previous sample piece of scarf with using fuzzy yarns like mohair and alpaca. So I got some more of those different assortment brands as well as colors. So I can't wait to get those. Okay, we're almost at the end of the line. This station is just pulling up to what I've been watching on TV and recommending if you're interested in finding a new series to latch onto while you're stitching and crafting away. So this one is on Netflix and it's called All the Light We Cannot See. Perhaps maybe you've already watched it. If you have, let me know what you thought of it. Now, this is a series that has maybe under 10. I can't remember the precise number of episodes. It's under 10. Me and Chad watched it within 2 weeks. And it centers around a storyline of the Second World War, towards the end of the Second World War. And it's centered in Europe, Paris, and it's looking at the Allies getting information in code, and that code is being read by a young lady who is in war-torn, kind of like bombed Paris. And she is reading over the radio 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and each of the paragraphs that she's reading from that novel are giving instructions to the Allies about what the Germans are doing. The only one flaw that I could find with watching that series, because I really enjoyed the cinematography, the effects that and the attention to detail on lighting and getting the composition right within the field of the composition field. I loved that they paid attention to all of the decor and making it very much a convincing period piece with the costumes. But the thing that was lacking for me and a little bit letting down of the authenticity was they were British actors, well, majority of them were, and they were speaking with their own personal accents, they weren't trying to put on a French English speaking accent. They were maybe from Yorkshire or maybe from London, and they were meant to be people playing characters from France, from Paris, from Germany. So I thought it was a little odd and not convincing. So I know that some movies like that from the 80s kind of were a little lacking in that kind of luster and that believability. So yeah, that was the only thing that I could say was a bit of a letdown on the experience of watching that. And sometimes I kind of can look over one accent or someone who is not a convincing person of the region. After a couple of episodes, you kind of like just play into the reality of the physics in the world that's being presented to you. But I couldn't do it for this one. I don't know why. But other than that, the story was really in-depth and involved, and I liked it. So if that's what's something that sounds of interest to you, then please go ahead, let me know what you think if you give it a go and whether you felt the same way as I did. And with that, I think that catches you up on everything. I'm going to leave you some clips now, some photographs at the close of this so that you can enjoy them from Pixel, or if I've got another photograph of walks, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.